If asked about Transistor just a few short weeks ago, I likely would have described it as Bastion, but with a new coat of paint. Thankfully, that reductionist view of the game proves false. There are many hallmarks of its predecessor that Transistor retains, but it also introduces a slew of new mechanics that keep the game from feeling too stale. Transistor tells its story through narration, much like Bastion did. This time, however, the tale's narrator is also your weapon, known only as the Transistor.
We're good.
And just like in Bastion, the true nature of the narrator is revealed, albeit slowly, piece by piece, along with the world you inhabit. The game begins abruptly with no introductory cutscene. You're suddenly playing, and the game leaves it mostly up to you to piece together what exactly this post-apocalyptic city once was. While its narrator and story development make Transistor unique, the most exciting thing about it is its combat. Now, the game does retain most of the action RPG mechanics common to games that traditionally use an isometric perspective, but it also adds a rather large wrinkle in the form of time manipulation. When first engaging the enemy, and every time the meter fills up after that, you're allowed to pause combat and meticulously plan out your next move or set of moves up until you exhaust the entirety of that same meter. The key to success with this system relies on knowing when to simply perform the actions without pausing the game, when to pause the game and plan out your moves, and how much of the meter to use at a time when you do pause. But Transistor makes other changes that add complexity beyond its most obvious mechanic. Each ability that you unlock through the game, referred to as functions, do something different depending on the type of slot that you place them in. Active slots are mapped to one of the controller's face buttons, allowing on-demand use of any given function. Upgrade slots allow for the use of a function to upgrade another in some way that retains the purpose of the active use of that function, while passive slots offer the function a way to perform some use with no intervention from the player. The effect that the functions have in each unique slot is listed every time you're given the option to swap them out. And indeed, the game encourages you to experiment with all the different combinations, not only giving you a room where you can freely practice with any combination you'd like, but also a set of challenges where you are forced to use combinations that you may have never thought to try before. Transistor, just like Bastion, has incredible art design, a beautiful world, and excellent writing read by fantastic voice actors. But with Transistor, those aren't the things that are making me want to continue playing. Despite the fact that the game has already been beaten, I continue to fight my way through the city over and over again, throwing myself against the enemies like I had never encountered them before. And in a way, I haven't encountered those enemies yet. My constantly rotating series of functions ensure that combat stays lively. Every time I think I've come upon a combination of functions that I will continue using in perpetuity, I am forced to discover something new. And that new combination or set of combinations completely changes how I engage in combat. The variety of Transistor's combat allows the game to remain exciting and interesting long after the charming nature of its world wears off. By forming an excellent gameplay core and building a rich world and characters around it, Supergiant has created another game that sits at the top of its class.